The alarm bells rang loud across the Zinthari homeworld. Elder Veltar rushed through the bright white halls of the Federation Council building. His blue skin looked pale with worry. Behind him, other council members moved quickly, their long robes flowing as they hurried to the emergency meeting room. "Show me the reports again," Veltar said to the young technician operating the large viewing screen. The screen lit up with images that made everyone in the room feel sick to their stomachs. Planet after planet showed the same terrible sight. What used to be beautiful green farms were now covered in ugly gray fungus. The Gray Death, they called it. It spread faster than fire and killed everything it touched. Crops that took months to grow died in just days. The fungus ate through the soil and made the air poisonous to breathe. "How many worlds now?" asked Council Member Zixara, her voice shaking. 47 agricultural planets are completely lost," the technician replied. 23 more are showing early signs of infection. Our food supply will run out in 6 months if this continues. Veltar closed his eyes and tried to think. The Zinthari had ruled this part of the galaxy for thousands of years. They were smart and advanced. Their technology could move mountains and build cities in space, but they had never faced anything like this Gray Death. "What about our scientists? Have they found a solution?" he asked. Dr. Kelliron stepped forward from the back of the room. His hands were dirty from working in the laboratories day and night. "Elder, we have tried everything we know. We used sterilization rays that can kill any known organism. We pumped pure oxygen into the soil. We even tried burning entire continents. Nothing works. The Gray Death just comes back stronger." The room fell quiet. Everyone knew what this meant. The Zinthari had always lived on clean worlds. Their ancestors had spent millions of years making their planets perfect. No dangerous animals, no poisonous plants, no wild diseases. Everything was controlled and safe. "Sir," said the technician quietly, "the Gray Death is not like our normal fungi. It seems to grow better when we try to kill it with our machines. It feeds on our sterilization chemicals. Our clean environments make it stronger, not weaker." Veltar felt old and tired. He looked around the room at all the worried faces. These were the smartest people in their civilization, and they had no answers. "Send the emergency broadcast," he said finally. "Ask for help from any species in the galaxy. Maybe someone else has faced this before." The technician's fingers moved over the controls. Soon their desperate message was traveling to every corner of known space. They were asking for help from anyone who might know how to fight biological disasters. Far away, in the empty space, between star systems, a human ship called the Morning Star picked up the signal. Captain June was drinking coffee in his small office when the communication officer knocked on his door. "Captain, we have an emergency broadcast from the Zinthari Federation," said Officer Kim. "They are asking for help with some kind of plague." June put down his coffee and followed Kim to the bridge. The main screen showed the Zinthari message. Elder Veltar's worried face appeared, speaking in his alien language. The computer translated his words into Korean. "Please, anyone who can, help us," Veltar was saying. "Our worlds are dying. A gray fungus is killing all our crops. We have tried our best technology, but nothing works. Our children will starve if we cannot stop this plague. We will share all our knowledge and resources with anyone who can save us." Dr. Na Young, the ship's science officer, studied the images of the infected planets. She was young but very smart about alien life forms. Her eyes grew wide as she looked at the data. "Captain June," she said with excitement in her voice, "I think I know what this is." "What do you mean?" June asked. Young pointed at the screen. "Look at how this fungus spreads. Look at the way it attacks the plants. This looks exactly like the potato blight that hit Earth hundreds of years ago. My grandmother used to tell stories about how it killed crops and made people starve." Unti looked more carefully at the images. He was not a scientist, but he had grown up on a farm in Korea before joining the space service. Something about the gray fungus did look familiar. "Are you saying this Gray Death is like something from Earth?" he asked. "Not just like something from Earth," Young said with a smile. "I think this is something from Earth, or at least very close to it. Captain, we fight fungi like this every year on our farms. Every human farmer knows how to deal with crop diseases. The bridge crew looked at each other with surprise. Could it be that simple? Could Earth knowledge help save an entire galactic civilization? The Zenthari live on sterile worlds, Young continued. They never learn to fight biological chaos. But humans? We swim in biological chaos every day. This gray death might destroy their perfect worlds, but on Earth we would just call it a bad growing season. Captain June made his decision quickly. Send a message to Earth Command. Tell them we want to help the Zenthari, and get me everything we have about fighting crop diseases. The communication room on the Morning Star was busy with activity. Captain June sat at his desk, reading reports from Earth Command. The response had been faster than he expected. Within 6 hours of sending their message, 3 more human ships were already heading toward Zenthari space. Dr. Na Young burst into the room holding a datapad. Her face was bright with excitement. Captain, I have been studying the Gray Death samples. The Zenthari sent this is incredible. It is almost exactly the same as Earth fungus number 2847 in our database. Speak in simple words, Young, June said with a smile. What does that mean? It means my great-grandfather probably fought this exact same thing on his rice farm, Young replied. Captain, humans have been dealing with fungi like this for thousands of years. We know exactly how to kill it. Officer Kim looked up from his communication station. Sir, we are getting messages from other galactic species. They all say the same thing. Stay away from Zenthari space. The Gray Death is too dangerous. June read through the warnings on his screen. The Trilaxian Empire called it biological suicide. The Vegan Confederacy said humans were too primitive to understand the danger. Even their friends in the Alpha Centauri Alliance advised them to keep their distance. Captain, Young said seriously, I think I understand why other species are so scared. They all come from clean worlds. They have never dealt with dangerous biology. To them, any wild fungus is terrifying. Engineer Lee walked into the room carrying a box of soil samples. He was an older man who had grown up farming on Mars before becoming a spaceship engineer. Captain, I brought some Earth dirt from our storage room. Look at this under the microscope. Young put a small amount of the Earth soil under her scientific equipment. The viewing screen showed what looked like a tiny war happening in the dirt. Millions of small organisms moved around, eating each other, fighting for space, creating a complex ecosystem in just one handful of soil. This is normal, Earth soil, Lee explained. It has bacteria, fungi, viruses, and tiny animals all living together. Humans grow food in this chaos every day. We are not afraid of biological warfare, we live in it. Captain June looked at the busy, microscopic world on the screen. It was beautiful in a strange way. All those tiny lives working together and against each other to create something bigger than themselves. The Zenthari sterilize their soil, Young continued. They kill everything except their crops. But when the Gray Death arrives, there is nothing to fight it. No competition. No natural enemies. It can spread without any resistance. So what do? June asked. We bring the war to the Gray Death, Lee said with a grin. We introduce Earth organisms that can compete with it. We make the sterile Zenthari soil into living Earth soil. The Gray Death will not survive when it has to fight for resources. Officer Kim interrupted them. Captain, incoming message from Earth Command. Admiral Park wants to speak with you directly. The main screen lit up with the face of Admiral Park, an old woman with gray hair and sharp eyes. She had commanded Earth Space Forces for 20 years and was known for making hard decisions. Captain June, Admiral Park said, I have read your request to help the Zenthari. The Galactic Council has sent official warnings to Earth. They say we should not get involved. They say the Gray Death could spread to Earth and kill our crops too. Admiral, June replied, Dr. Young believes we can help them. This Gray Death is similar to fungi we deal with on Earth all the time. Admiral Park was quiet for a moment. Captain, I grew up on a farm in Jeju Island. My family fought crop diseases every year. Sometimes we lost, sometimes we won, but we never gave up. She smiled. Permission granted. Take your ship to Zenthari space, help them if you can. Thank you, Admiral, June said. But Captain, Admiral Park continued, you will not go alone. I am sending Dr. Min Wu with his agricultural research ship. He has 30 years of experience fighting crop diseases. I am also sending Engineer Kote with a load of beneficial soil organisms, and Botanist Limbo with seeds of earth plants that can grow in contaminated soil. Young clapped her hands together with joy. Captain, this is perfect. Dr. Wu is famous for saving the rice crops during the Mars blight of 2387. Engineer Tay created the bacterial treatments we use on Europa. Botanist Bo developed the hardy wheat that grows in the asteroid belt. How long until they arrive? June asked. 48 hours, Admiral Park replied. Use that time to study everything the Zinthari have sent you. Learn their agricultural methods. Understand their soil composition. When our experts arrive, we need to be ready to move fast. The screen went dark. Captain June looked around the communication room at his crew. They were all smiling with excitement and determination. Well, he said, looks like we are about to become the galaxy's first biological rescue team. Officer Kim laughed. Sir, the other species call us Deathworlders because Earth is dangerous. Maybe it is time to show them that our dangerous world taught us how to save others. The Zenthari world of Kepler 442b looked like a planet from a nightmare. Captain June stared through the viewing window of the Morning Star as they approached the infected world. What should have been green farmland was now covered in thick gray fungus. The gray mass moved slowly across the surface like a living thing, eating everything in its path. Air quality readings show high spore concentration, reported Officer Kim. The atmosphere is toxic to most galactic species. Dr. Na Young stood beside the captain, studying her instruments. The spore count is actually lower than I expected. This is similar to what we see during mushroom season in Earth's forests. Humans should be fine with basic protection. Elder Veltar appeared on the communication screen. His blue face looked tired and worried. Behind him, other Zenthari officials watched with fear in their eyes. Captain June, Veltar said, please reconsider. No living being has survived more than 10 minutes on the surface since the Grey Death arrived. We have lost 12 research teams trying to study this plague. Elder Veltar, June replied calmly. What kind of protection did your research teams use? The best we have. Veltar answered. Full environmental suits with triple air filtration, radiation shielding, and chemical neutralization systems. They still died within minutes of touching the infected soil. Dr. Young spoke up. Elder, I think your protection systems might be part of the problem. The Grey Death probably adapted to your sterilization methods. We are going to try a different approach. The Zenthari officials looked confused. On the screen, June could see them talking quietly among themselves in their alien language. 3 hours later, the human landing party prepared to go down to the planet's surface. Dr. Min Wu checked his equipment one last time. He was an older man with kind eyes and hands that showed years of working with soil. Engineer Kote loaded containers of earth bacteria and beneficial fungi onto the transport ship. Botanist Limbo carried bags of seeds that could grow in almost any condition. Atmospheric suits ready? Captain June asked his team. The Zenthari watching through the communications link gasped in horror. The human atmospheric suits were nothing like the heavy protective gear their people used. The humans wore simple coveralls, basic air filters, over their noses and mouths, and thin gloves on their hands. Captain June, Elder Veltar said in a panic, that equipment will not protect you. You need full environmental suits. Elder, Dr. Young said with a smile. Humans work in biological chaos every day. Our immune systems are designed for this. We will be fine. Engineer Tay laughed. Elder, I have worked in Earth's sewage treatment plants. This Grey Death is not so scary compared to that. The human landing craft touched down in the middle of a gray wasteland. What used to be a beautiful farm was now covered in thick fungal mats that moved slightly in the wind. The air shimmered with floating spores that would kill most aliens. Instantly, the humans stepped out of their craft and began working immediately. Dr. Wu knelt down and picked up a handful of infected soil with his gloved hands. He examined it closely, even smelling it through his simple air filter. Interesting, he said. This fungus has no competition at all. It is growing in completely sterile soil. No wonder it spread so fast. Engineer Tay began setting up his equipment. He had containers full of earth bacteria that would compete with the Grey Death for food in space. Dr. Wu, this soil has no beneficial microorganisms at all. It is like trying to grow crops in a laboratory. The Zenthari officials watched in amazement as the humans worked without fear. They handled infected soil directly. They breathed the toxic air through simple filters. They even sat down on contaminated ground to eat their lunch. "How are they not dead?" whispered a Zenthari scientist to Elder Veltar. "I do not understand it either," Veltar replied. "Their protection is so basic, yet they work as if they are in their own garden." Dr. Young was taking samples of the Grey Death fungus and comparing them to Earth organisms on her portable computer. "Captain, this is definitely related to Phytophthora infestans. We have been fighting this family of fungi for centuries. I know exactly what Earth organisms can kill it." Botanist Bo started planting earth seeds in small patches of treated soil. The seeds were from plants that grew wild in Earth's most contaminated areas, plants that could survive in soil full of competing organisms, dangerous chemicals, and biological warfare. "The key," Dr. Wu explained to the watching Zenthari, "is not to fight the chaos. The key is to create the right kind of chaos. Earth. Soil is full of thousands of different organisms all fighting each other. This creates balance." Engineer Tay released clouds of beneficial bacteria into the air and soil. These bacteria will eat the same food that the Grey Death needs to survive. When the Grey Death has to compete for resources, it becomes much weaker. After 6 hours of work, the humans had treated a small area about the size of a football field. The gray fungus in that area already looked different. It was thinner and seemed to be struggling. "Look," Dr. Young pointed to her instruments. "The spore production in the treated area has dropped by 60%. The beneficial organisms are already fighting back." Elder Veltar could not believe what he was seeing. "In 6 hours, you have accomplished more than our best scientists did in 6 months. Captain June wiped sweat from his forehead and smiled. "Elder, this is just the beginning. Give us a few weeks and we will turn this dead world into a garden again." 3 weeks had passed since the humans first landed on the infected Zenthari world. Captain June stood in what used to be a field of Grey Death and smiled. Green shoots now pushed through the soil where Dr. Wu and his team had been working. The ugly gray fungus was retreating, replaced by healthy plants and rich brown earth. "Status report," June asked Dr. Young as she checked her instruments near a patch of newly planted crops. "The beneficial bacteria have established colonies across 12 square kilometers," Young replied happily. "The Grey Death spore count is down 75% in treated areas. Captain, we are winning this war." Engineer Tay walked over carrying a container of soil samples. His clothes were dirty from working in the fields all morning, but his face showed excitement. "Captain, look at this soil under the microscope. It is alive now. Millions of tiny organisms fighting, eating, growing, dying. This is what healthy soil should look like." Elder Veltar and a group of Zenthari scientists approached the humans. They wore their heavy protective suits and moved carefully across the ground. The contrast was funny to see. The humans worked in simple clothes while the aliens needed full body protection just to walk around. "Dr. Wu," Elder Veltar said through his suit's communication system, "we have been watching your methods for 3 weeks now. We still do not understand how this works. You are putting more organisms into the soil, not taking them away." Dr. Wu laughed and picked up a handful of the treated earth. Even through his simple gloves, he could feel the soil was different now. It was softer, richer, full of life. "Elder, your people have been trying to create perfect, clean worlds. But perfect and clean means dead. Life needs competition to stay healthy." Botanist Bo joined the conversation. She had been working with young Zenthari farmers, teaching them earth-growing methods. "Look at this corn plant," she said, pointing to a tall green stalk growing in the treated soil. "It is growing next to earth bacteria, earth fungi, and even some controlled Grey Death organisms. They are all competing for the same resources." "That sounds dangerous," said a Zenthari scientist. "What if the Grey Death wins?" That is the beautiful part, Bo explained. No single organism can win when there are many competitors. The Grey Death becomes just another player in the game, not the only player. It has to follow the rules of nature. Officer Kim called to Captain June from the communication station they had set up in the field. Captain, we are receiving messages from other galactic species. They want to know how we are succeeding where their advanced technology failed. June walked over to read the messages. The Trilaxian Empire had sent scientific observers who were studying the human methods from orbit. The Vegan Confederacy wanted detailed reports on the biological processes being used. Even the proud Altarian Republic had asked for permission to send a research team. What should I tell them? Kim asked. Tell them the truth, June replied. We are not using advanced technology. We are using ancient knowledge. Knowledge that every human farmer has used for thousands of years. Dr. Young called out from across the field, Captain, come see this. She was standing next to a large patch of soil that had been completely gray just 2 weeks ago. Now it was covered with green plants and small flowers. The transformation rate is accelerating, Young explained as the group gathered around her. The beneficial organisms are reproducing faster than we expected. At this rate, we can treat the entire continent in 6 months instead of 2 years. Engineer Tay was setting up new bacterial release stations around the field. The Grey Death is actually helping us now, he said with a grin. As it dies, it becomes food for the beneficial organisms. Death becomes life. This is the Earthway. Elder Veltar removed his helmet for the first time since the humans arrived. The other Zenthari gasped in fear, but Veltar breathed the air deeply. It smells different, he said with wonder. Not clean and sterile, but alive. That is the smell of a healthy ecosystem, Dr. Wu said. Your nose is detecting thousands of different organisms all working together. Your ancestors probably knew this smell before they made their world sterile. A young Zenthari farmer named Kexani approached the group. She had been working with botanist Bo for 2 weeks, learning earth farming methods. Elder, my family's farm has been dead for 8 months, but look. She pointed to rows of small green plants growing in soil that used to be Grey Death. These earth methods work. The soil feels alive under my hands. Captain June looked around at the transformed landscape. In the distance, he could see more human teams working with Zenthari farmers. Grey Death was being replaced by green life. Sterile soil was becoming rich earth full of competing organisms. Elder Veltar, June said, your people called us Deathworlders because Earth is dangerous. But maybe being dangerous taught us something important. We learned that life is stronger than death when it has the right tools to fight. Officer Kim approached with another message. Captain, 3 more Zenthari worlds are requesting our help. Word is spreading that the humans can defeat the Grey Death. June smiled and looked at his team. They were dirty, tired, but happy. They were doing what humans did best, taking a bad situation and making it better through hard work and ancient wisdom. 6 months after the first human landing party arrived, Captain June walked through fields that looked like paradise. The Zenthari, world of Kepler 442b, was more beautiful than it had ever been before. Green crops grew tall and strong in soil that was rich and dark. Flowers bloomed between the rows of grain. Small earth insects buzzed around plants, helping them make seeds. The air smelled sweet and fresh, full of life. Elder Veltar walked beside June without any protective suit. His blue skin looked healthy and happy. Behind them, groups of Zenthari children ran through the fields, playing games among the crops. 6 months ago, these same children had been slowly starving as their worlds died around them. Captain June, Veltar said, our food production is now higher than it was before the Grey Death arrived. How is this possible? Dr. Na Young joined, them carrying a basket of vegetables she had just picked. Some were Zenthari crops that had grown here for thousands of years. Others were earth plants that had never existed on this world before. Elder, the mixed ecosystem is more productive than the sterile systems you used before. When many different organisms work together, they all become stronger. Botanist Bo ran up to the group with excitement on her face. She had been working with Zenthari farmers all morning, teaching them new growing methods. Captain Elder, You have to see the new hybrid crops. The Xanthari grains are crossbreeding with earth wheat. The results are amazing. They followed Bo to an experimental field where Dr. Wu was working with several Xanthari scientists. The old human farmer was showing them how to make compost from dead plant material and beneficial bacteria. The Xanthari watched carefully as he mixed organic material with earth soil organisms. Dr. Wu asked a young Xanthari scientist, "Why do you put the dead plants back into the soil? Would it not be cleaner to remove them?" Dr. Wu smiled and held up a handful of rich compost. "Young friend, death is not the opposite of life. Death feeds life. These dead plants become food for bacteria. The bacteria feed the new plants. Nothing is wasted. Everything is connected." Engineer Tay approached the group carrying his daily report. "Captain, I have good news from all 7 treated worlds. The Gray Death has been completely eliminated from agricultural areas. The beneficial organism populations are stable and self-sustaining." Captain June felt proud of his team and their success. But he also felt something deeper. The humans had not just saved the Xanthari worlds. They had changed how an entire galactic civilization thought about life itself. "Captain," said Officer Kim over the communication system, "we are receiving a message from the Galactic Council. They want to speak with you urgently." The group walked to the communication station that had been set up in the middle of the field. The main screen showed the council chamber on the Xanthari homeworld. Representatives from dozens of different species filled the room. At the center, the council leader stood ready to speak. "Captain June of Earth," the leader announced. "The Galactic Council recognizes the extraordinary achievement of humanity in saving the Xanthari Federation. But we need to understand how this was possible." "Honored Council," June replied, "we used methods that humans have known for thousands of years. We fought biological chaos with biological balance." A Trilaxian representative stood up. "Captain, our best scientists could not solve this problem. Our most advanced technology failed. Yet your simple methods succeeded completely. This changes everything we thought we knew about biological science." Dr. Young stepped forward. "Honored representative, I think the difference is in our backgrounds. Most galactic species evolved on worlds that became clean and safe over millions of years. Humans evolved on a world that stayed dangerous and chaotic. We learned to work with biological chaos instead of against it." Elder Veltar addressed the council. "Honored leaders, I propose that humanity be recognized as the galaxy's official biological crisis response force. Their knowledge of life systems could help all of our worlds become healthier and more stable." The council chamber erupted in discussion. Species that had never agreed on anything before were all talking about the same thing. The humans had shown that sometimes the most advanced solution was actually the oldest solution. The council leader called for order. "Captain June, the Galactic Council formally invites Earth to establish biological research stations throughout our territories. We want to learn from your ancient wisdom about life and death, chaos, and balance." Captain June looked around at his team. They were dirty from working in the fields, tired from months of hard work but smiling with satisfaction. "We accept your invitation," he said. "But remember, we are not miracle workers. We are just gardeners who learned our trade on a dangerous world." As the communication ended, Captain June walked back into the fields with his team. Xanthari families were harvesting crops that would feed their children through the next year. Earth organisms and alien organisms worked together in the soil beneath their feet. Life had conquered death through the simple wisdom of farmers and gardeners. "You know what the best part is?" Dr. Wu said as he watched Xanthari children play among the hybrid crops. "We did not just save their worlds. We taught them that life is stronger when it is complicated, messy, and chaotic. Just like Earth." Captain June smiled and picked up a handful of the rich, dark soil. It was full of life, full of competition, full of the beautiful chaos that made everything possible. The galaxy had learned an important lesson from the Deathworlders. Sometimes salvation comes not from avoiding danger, but from learning to dance with it.